Hello there, Internet. Once again, we are Matt and Andrew from Behind the Curve, bringing you our thoughts on literature, movies, the world, and a little bit of ourselves.
Oh, konnichiwa.
Oh, okay. And we started this one like NPR. Please don't turn off. Of course, then again, if we don't appeal to people who listen to NPR, who exactly are we supposed to appeal to?
NPR, is that a political thing or what?
NPR, National Public Radio. Like, book talk, car talk, people who talk like this, jazz
Oh,
music, shuba-ba-doo-ba.
we're kind of having a car talk here, only it's not really our planned spin-off show. But we wanted to do a Matt and Drew React, which I guess technically count as, but we couldn't, right?
We could. There's technology. We didn't. We had some major technology issues trying to get that started. So we just decided that what we really need today, is an in-depth analysis of the Wachowski brothers' butchering of Speed Racer.
I think you might have to call them Wachowski sisters now. I don't want to get anyone offended here.
Whichever they may be.
I just say Wachowski's on my video. I just don't hurt me.
I There's a minefield I do not feel like pressing my feet upon. So we do have a movie to discuss, regardless of its creators' orientations and sundry other discussions. Base reaction to the movie. What do you think?
In one sense, it didn't. It wasn't really a racing movie, and that disappointed me.
Okay, not a racing movie. This is true. This is
I
true.
mean, there's a way that you can kind of balance the two, where like the movie is so interesting that it kind of works. Have you ever watched American Graffiti?
Not all the way through.
Have you watched? So you've heard of it and you watch excerpts.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a good example, but I think that that's probably my favorite car movie of all time. I don't know about you.
Okay, interesting.
So far, I mean, like Fast and Furious, I heard the earlier movies were good, but American Graffiti, I think it has it where it counts. So you can kind of get away with not really, but still, that's more car focused. I feel like that was a car movie. If it's like you kind of had to be about cars and racing, and like you joke they were talking about radio cars, so they had like transistors and like the
Yeah.
Wachowskis don't understand cars.
Yeah, it was like they have rocket cars, but they also still have transmissions sticking out of them,
Oh yeah,
which to me is kind of like, so rocket gears sort of thing.
they did have like airborne cars for a little bit, and the video game adaptation my brother had, they kind of had them going at like 500 miles per hour and stuff like that.
Uh, yeah, no, it's very confusing. It's part of my base reaction will be that yeah, no, it's not a racing movie. Um, which could be okay. You could have had a family drama
Yeah,
set against a racing background.
this is like more of a racing world. Like I kind of one of the good elements of the movie was I feel like it kind of did sort of in a fantastical way capture the way like, oh, this could really be how uh, racing is 100 years from now, to a certain extent, if people really care about cars still. I mean, we still have we still have like charioteer racing now. I mean, like let's face it, probably have car races 100 years too.
Probably. I mean, I don't see any reason why we wouldn't have car racing still.
But then would mean NASCAR's like the Kentucky Derby of 100 years in the future. Not impossible.
In the comments, I want people to vote. Do we think NASCAR is the Kentucky Derby of the future? It's worth it. Hey, it's worth a shot. I mean, yeah, I don't see any reason why we wouldn't or shouldn't have car racing in the future. I mean, as long as there's personal transport, there's going to be people who want to see how fast it can go and see if they can go faster than the other people that are around them. Uh,
Teleportation racing.
Yeah. Well, no, teleportation. Everybody would be dead by the time they got back.
That's true.
Let's be honest here. Um,
You're
but
not a fan of teleportation, are
I'm
you?
not. I'm not because it just doesn't work. That's the thing. It doesn't work. Like I believe that there's feasibility for like faster than light things. Because I think
I don't, but I think I know what you're saying.
yeah, there's feasibility for things that can make space travel feasible. I mean, not with the technology we have now, but in the future, long distance space travel feasible.
Methuselah ships.
Yeah, but like for teleportation, it's just like unless you figure out some way how to reassemble an entire human without that human becoming something else, and I'm not sure that's possible by the laws of the universe. So, moving there, the Wachowskis.
I have my list actually divided into good stuff and bad stuff, but it would kind of be me monologuing. I don't know.
Well, we start with the good stuff. You give
Okay.
one thing, I'll give one thing. We'll see how much
Well,
we agree, and we'll see how far we get.
well, as the Wachowskis are like fourth film, I believe. Let's see, Bound, Matrix. No, actually, two other Matrixes. Bound, two other Matrix, four. V for Vendetta, Speed Racer. So this is their sixth film for my estimation.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, one person commented from in a review that this is basically the time the Wachowskis became auteurs, which is saying a lot, especially since this is post Matrix trilogy. So I don't really know. Like, have you watched The Matrix? You know, kind of. Well, you know about auteur theory.
Expand on that a little bit, because people might not
Basically,
know.
the idea of controlling what you put in a movie very tightly, and like having some common elements run through your films, like production design, the types of things that you talk about, really.
Okay, that
So you
makes
can.
sense.
Okay. Um, I also wrote maybe its biggest point is that there's nothing else like it, which is kind of a weak point, but I still think it holds true.
That could be both a positive and negative point. There's nothing quite like it. I mean, that can also be, wow, you did something really unique, or wow, that's unique. You get where I'm going?
Yeah, because the room is unique, but it's the room.
Yeah, the room is unique, but then again, so is Spirited Away. Spirited Away is unique. So yeah. So for me, I think one of the good things is one of the things that does really well is I think his name just went right out of my head.
And an actor?
Pops.
John Goodman.
John Goodman's portrayal of Pops, I think, is one of the most consistently good things.
Oh yeah, I think that worked. I think Emil Hirsch wasn't bad, and so was evil Al Gore.
Yeah, no, believe it, I prefer to call him Discount Tim Curry, but still, it's yeah. I would have liked that role better with Tim Curry, but the acting really isn't bad. The acting is not bad. Like there are parts where it's bad, but for the most time, it's good. For the most part, it's.
I seriously want doubt Wachowski's casting ability sometimes. Like Keanu Reeves, he wasn't really the best in The Matrix.
Say his
And
name
Hale,
again.
Keanu Reeves.
Okay, that's what I thought you said.
We'll go on for that for now and try to ignore it.
Okay.
And the fact that Halle Berry is basically the second character in Cloud Atlas, which actually worked out in their favor, but I think was a heck of a gamble. So I think it kind of really shows the worst in this movie.
Interesting. Why was Halle Berry a gamble in your mind?
She was in Catwoman, and if you knew anything about that movie, you know that it did not do well.
True, but she's also. I think Halle Berry is actually a pretty good actor. I think she's a good actress. I think she's a fine actress.
Yeah, but it was before she made a lot of her big roles. Like she was the main character in Extant, and she was pretty good in that. But like, it was kind of before she was like, that movie kind of made her. I think it kind of like turned her career around, in my opinion.
Okay. I mean,
But you're right. For what we have, I think it works for the most part. And you also said the Trixie was the wolf goth girl from
yes, Christina Ricci. Christina Ricci was both Lily from Alpha and Omega and Trixie.
Okay.
I think the movie could have improved. You never mind.
You can say it. I don't care.
No, no, I was gonna say dropping her, alternate animated character into the world might spice up the plot.
Well, I was just gonna say that like I think it would have been better if it would have been like a motion capture film, kind of like something from Robert Zemeckis. And honestly, they could have done that because he did at the time he did Beowulf, and he was also in production of doing Christmas Carol, so it's a bit iffy. But like I guess it would have delayed the movie another year. But
Do we do we both agree that it would have been better straight animated?
yes,
Okay.
that's axiomatic at that point.
I definitely agree.
I think it would
On
have they had a very self-aware use of color, so they just went straight and they did the animatrix. So they definitely the Wachowskis had a animation company before them, which I think was an anime company,
mhm.
and they know how to do animation at all to begin
Hmm.
with. So they really had no excuse for that.
I mean, to me, I thought the animation, even for its time, is lackluster and it's aged very poorly.
It
The
also
the
came out.
backgrounds aren't backgrounds in places the backgrounds still look good.
Oh yeah, definitely.
In places the backgrounds, but anything up close looks really pretty bad.
Oh yeah, and it came a year before Avatar. And if you look at the budget, like I think if they shortened the runtime, it would have worked better because we definitely agreed the runtime wasn't necessary.
Yeah, no, it was a really long movie where not a whole lot of stuff happened.
I mean, like I think the action kind of worked where it was there, and I think that this would have been cool in IMAX 3D. I don't even know if they had IMAX 3D was more of a thing back then. It might have been because Dark Knight had IMAX 3D, I think, and Avatar definitely had IMAX 3D. So I think maybe at the time it was a better experience, maybe just like watching it for the first time with no preconceptions.
I don't know, but kind of like all of a sudden everybody being like a kung fu fighter. Does it make any sense? No, but you're kind of at the point in the movie where you're done trying to make sense of it.
Yeah, I think yeah at that point because that's why like why did the Wachowskis get given this film because they wanted it to be that kind of kung fu movie, but like they just I feel like they decided that post production, that's not possible. Like they did reshoots or something.
Like there were parts of the movie that just got stapled in later.
Yeah, that's it.
There were moments where it was very jarring, where just all of a sudden you have like one thing, and though that is the theme though, carrying over from the Matrix, all sort of like these Eastern, at least Eastern thematics. I mean, in this case, it being kind of the kung fu and the random ninjas.
And an anime adaptation,
Yeah,
really.
a- anime adaptations. A random kung fu ninja jokes, a bunch of ninjas showing up in the Middle East.
Yeah, I mean, like
Random,
that's why I say like it did establish
yeah,
the authorship for the Wachowskis, but like their authorship really wasn't needed in this kind of movie.
yeah. I feel like this is one thing that's a danger of adapting things intended for children, because this is not a children's movie.
Not really. No, it's
This
like what kind of movie is it for? That's true.
No one. It has a target audience of no one, because people who are old enough to remember the original aren't gonna like what they did to it. I think that's pretty safe to say. People who are young aren't gonna get a lot of the humor
Oh yeah, that's
or
true.
the subplots.
Or like the slower pace of it and like the
Yeah,
focus on action.
I mean, is it for teenagers? Because I mean,
Kind
the lead character is a teenager, but most of his interaction is with other adults, and the themes are at least adult. It's like a coming of age story for people who forgot to do one. Does that make any sense? Like I think it's a coming of age story for someone that's already come of age and don't understand like how they got there.
maybe. I think I sort of know what you're saying. Like, but it beat me on the head with those themes anyway. I
But then
think.
again, he doesn't change.
No, actually, he doesn't.
Speed Racer does not change at all. No one changes.
That's true. It doesn't. He does say that there's just some development in the fact that like we get information later, like that scene that they beat Tess to death. How he was watching some racer in the dark with his dad, and he decided to
Yeah,
become a racer. But he kind of like that was kind
yeah,
of understood that he wanted to race in the beginning with the very beginning of the movie.
yeah.
So kind of became off as to me as unneeded.
Yeah, and Racer X. I mean, why did they like they just the audience knows the plot twist from the beginning, and they're just jerking your chain throughout the entire movie.
Well, you do know in the anime he was Speed's brother the entire.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know.
Another reshoot thing was the fact that I feel like they were gonna not make Racer X to be his brother, but then even then you can go only do something with that anti twist, if you will.
Yeah, but then the anti-twist turns out to be the actual plot twist, and nobody is fooled, or surprised, or interested.
Yeah, really. And what's its relevance anyway? Really.
Uh, because the story's not going on from the movie, there's no relevance to it.
You know, I think another thing about this movie was that this is kind of the movies. It was a box office bomb, by the way.
Can you hear that? It's the sound of me being shocked.
But this was the movie that actually, I think, prevented the Wachowskis from doing Cloud Atlas sooner than they could have, because it was a 4-year gap between that. And for the Wachowskis, that's a bit much. And up to before Valorant and Thousand Planets, Cloud Atlas was the highest budgeted independent movie of all time. And it was actually done by another guy, Tom Twickler. So this is almost a thing to derail their careers. Even worse, almost, than Jupiter Ascending, because Jupiter Ascending they did a Netflix series, like they didn't have anything. Like same year, but this like they didn't have anything for 4 years.
And one thing I did in fact like about the movie was that it tried to make itself relatable. I think it failed, but it tried.
In a general sense?
Yes.
Okay.
It failed, but it tried, I think. Yeah. So, when are we going to address the? I kind of feel like this is kind of like the elephant in the room is when are we going to address how bad the script was?
Yeah, see, I was actually going to talk about like how the reason why the live action anime curse. Do you know that's the thing, by the way, the live action?
Yeah, it doesn't work well because you're going for something that's intentionally idealized and usually intentionally over the top to realism. That jump doesn't work.
Yeah, and you have to, like I said, you have to have a lot of control to make a vision like that happen. You have to have a high authorship, and think about like all the things that failed. The semi-popular anime things that weren't maybe all that good to begin with. Like they kind of tried to make Speed Racer deep, and I didn't think it worked. Like you got Dragon Ball Evolution, and you got Ghost in the Shell, and you have now Alita Battle Angel, which hopefully is good. That's coming out in like 2 days from the recording of this.
Somehow I have my doubts.
Yeah, me too. But it is directed by Robert Rodriguez and produced by James Cameron, so we'll see.
James Cameron, not that he's made shallow movies that did extremely well at the box office before.
Yeah, I'm just hoping that it being a financial success will help make better stuff come out. So
true, but like, is that the goal to change the art form?
Well, to improve it, I think. I think that the more chances we get, the more we'll have a good chance of doing something better. Like Gravity came out, I think paved the way for Interstellar to be more of a hit. So Interstellar is going to be a thing anyway, but you know what I'm saying?
I do know what you're saying.
So that's why I want to succeed, even if it's like a very shallow movie. And it probably will be, even if it's decent, it'll probably be better than most live action animes.
I do agree with you saying that it tries to be deep. I think what I said after we watched it is there's the part where they have like some emotional scenes, and it's when they're trying to give a heart to a movie without soul.
Yeah, you said that. It feels artificial.
It feels intensely artificial. The emotions, the plot, the story, the events, everything feels as artificial as those terrible as the terrible settings look. That's his problem. I think it's so caught up with being good with not being good, with producing a feeling that it doesn't let that feeling happen. It's saying, I will input this and this, and the result will be this. I will get dun, 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 dun,
Yeah, they
empathy.
want push button emotion. I see what you're saying.
Yeah, push button
And the,
emotion.
and the acting isn't even there to support that.
No, it's not, which makes me bad because at least John Goodman tries, and he has like the best lines in the movie.
Yeah, I agree too.
He's also the only character that feels real to me. I mean,
Oh,
Mrs. Racer is there.
good at peanut butter and jelly.
Sparky's an idiot.
It's like an Australian pothead or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah. Spritle is annoying. Jim is a monkey.
A real monkey.
A real monkey. And it's like
You know, for me, as progresses, I really got in trouble for the way they treat that monkey on set, like PETA trying to get them.
I don't know. I mean,
That's what I read. That's what I read.
Well, poor monkey. And I don't
The real
know.
cruelty was the human actors who had to do that film, though.
And Speed Racer is flat. I mean, let's be honest. He was never a compelling character. I mean, I don't know who looked into Speed Racer and said, "Yes, there's the good stuff. There's our main character." There's it's just like we could build something as deep as Wuthering Heights around this man. You can't. There's the conflict. Little guys versus big business.
Oh, yeah, because...
Random kung fu. Wait, where have I seen this in a movie directed by the Wachowskis before? Oh, wait. It was called The Matrix.
With flotation device Reeves.
Flotation device Reeves. He is a master of his art. So just keep on rowing your Keanu up the stream merrily. Life is but a dream, and the Wachowskis are ruining it for my eyeballs.
He wakes up from the dream and he kicks Hugo Weaving's butt.
Poor Hugo. Can Hugo ever play a good guy?
He does in V for Vendetta. He's V.
You know what? He's also Elrond, so that counts.
I actually enjoyed his Red Skull performance the best, even though it probably wasn't his best work. Probably his best work was Cloud Atlas.
I always liked Hugo Weaving. I don't know why.
Spoiler alert, he literally plays every bad guy in Cloud Atlas for every timeline.
Because Hugo Weaving, with a face like Hugo Weaving, you can't exactly cast him as Captain America. Just saying.
He's in Dragon, the 2012 timeline.
Durgan?
He also plays a British woman in drag, which is doubly interesting. Because he's Australian in real life, so he have an interesting accent. And now Andrew will walk away slowly.
I'm just trying to picture Hugo Weaving as a woman, and it's not happening. I'm sorry, it's not happening. In my head, at least. I'm not seeing it.
Yeah, I think they did a decent job. The thing with the movie is everyone plays everyone else, and that's kind of the thing.
Right. Which is a tremendous acting challenge because I mean, like men and women walk different. That's a thing because I have taken drama classes and I have played both a man and a woman in things and yeah, you everything down to your walk, they tend to fidget in different ways. It's how you turn to see another person. Those are like it makes you appreciate more like back in the early stage when it was men doing everything, how hard that was.
Oh yeah, it was like Shakespeare times.
Yeah, no, so that was part of learning Shakespearean acting was like, yeah, you have to learn how to both act as a man and as a woman. So that was an interesting thing for me. So while I still can't see Hugo Weaving like it as a woman in my head, I think it'd be very interesting to watch him try.
Cloud Atlas probably was the best acting of all the Wachowski films, but this is probably the worst.
So you did not like Cloud Atlas?
I did like Cloud. I just said Cloud Atlas had the best acting, and Speed
Okay.
Racer had the worst.
Oh, okay. Sorry, misunderstood.
But yeah, I think for like the whole like what you said earlier about the anti-capitalist things, I don't think that really worked in this. Even though I think that the kind of the point was like it was kind of an allegory for anti-Hollywood corporatism, which
Could be. So are the Wachowskis self-projecting into the Racer family?
I guess to a certain point, but they've always come across to me as like I don't mean this as an accusation, but kind of Marxist in a kind of ironic Michael Moore kind of way. Like, how can you call yourself someone who makes money and be double-digit millionaires or whatever? And I'm like a Michael Moore type, just a Hollywood hypocrite, basically.
So someone who
I do assume that they as if they support any type of capitalism that they support the little guy, but only more out of a oppressor versus oppressed lens rather than being inherently pro-capitalist, in my opinion.
Okay, so like you're saying, like when a major like when a big game company tries to pass itself off as like an independent thing, like
Something like that. But
okay,
only side for the little guy because they're the oppressed rather than they're capitalist. If that makes any sense. The attraction is they're the oppressed, and they're
I
the oppressors.
I get what you're trying to say. I'm not sure. I don't know enough about them to go deeper into that, but
Well, that's fine. Yeah, I see a lot of their themes in their movies, and just I don't. Again, it goes back to why did the Wachowski get given this project?
I am wondering who thought, we want to make a Speed Racer movie. Let's give it to those dudes who did The Matrix. I I I struggle to like. Let's give it to the guys who did The Matrix. Sure, that's basically they'll be like saying, I want to make a movie about the Titanic. Titanic. Let's give it to that guy who did Star Wars. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like that doesn't track. It'd be
The
like,
guy who got Terminator got the Titanic movie in the end, which kind of is a bit weird too.
yeah. Well, it's also like oh, let's see, what are we gonna do here? We want to do a movie about. It's like giving. It's like giving what's his name? Quentin.
Tarantino.
Yeah, it's like giving Quentin Tarantino like a children's movie. Like,
Not that bad.
it's like it's time for Quentin Tarantino. It's yeah, all right, kids, gather around. We're going to watch Quentin Tarantino's Winnie the Pooh. It doesn't make any sense, but it's not that bad, but it's
Yeah.
So. Would you say that our general verdict is don't waste your time?
Yeah, I did have some more ideas
Sure,
here.
fire away.
A big thing I think would have been more favorable they didn't have this is like a lack of identifiable stakes, which is kind of a failure of world building if you think about it.
True, I agree. There was a failure in world building. The world was very vague. I didn't know what the stakes were, nor did I care halfway through the movie.
Yeah, really. And they also had that weird alternate fuel subplot, which I feel like the funny thing with Wachowskis is one of the good things of the movie is they're deep enough to watch at least twice, but like I didn't feel like we watched to figure out like what. It just especially had nothing to do with real science. It's like, what's with the alternative fuel thing,
Wait, did Cars 2 just happen in the middle of a Wachowski film?
Oh, that's a good point. I forgot that was a thing. All in all, or whatever.
Yeah. All in all, that was it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Where'd that come from?
Well, you couldn't name the bad guy model car in Cars 2 either, so I guess
Fair.
That's a really good movie on that.
Fair. I think it was a Land Rover. I think it was a Land Rover.
The German one? The German bad guy?
No, okay, never mind. Let's move along.
Yeah, probably the weirdest thing I was with the casual killing / destruction of cars, especially at the end where like looks like Speed like destroyed 2 cars on purpose, and I really didn't get that.
Yeah, there was a lot of wanton destruction occurring throughout the movie.
Transformers directed by the Wachowskis.
No, then we'd be doing like 4-hour space operas interrupted by occasional Transformers talking. There would be a net loss of lens flares.
That's true. That's more Abrams thing, but yeah.
Same difference. Star Wars with lens flares.
There is one good thing I read about the movie though.
What is it?
The video game adaptation, at least the Wii version, was actually pretty good. Kind of like it's been compared to F-Zero GX for GameCube, I believe.
Interesting. Mayhaps we should go out and acquire it to see if this claim rings true.
Matt and Drew play.
Matt and Drew play.
Two guys in a chair.
Two guys in a chair. That sounds weird.
Actually, yes, it does.
Yeah, it does.
I never played F-Zero, but this actually might be the first movie to ever be worse than its video game.
Oh, I'm sure there's been. Actually, oh no, you're right. Worse than his video game. Yeah. Or unless it was the Super Bowl. Ha!
Oh gosh.
That was bad.
Actually, yeah.
That was really bad.
All the Patriots fans unsubscribed.
All one of them.
Yes.
Alright, so Speed Racer, folks. It has cars.
Don't even let your dog watch it.
Your dog watches it, they may get strange ideas.
Watch Balto instead with your dog.
I concur 100%. That was the alternate movie that we were going to watch, Balto. And it may be one that we talk about in the future.
Who knows?
Who knows? All right, so Matthew, I have a question for you. What is your number one reason for not liking a book? What is your number one most common reason for not being able to get into a book, for not liking a book?
It always boils down to inconsistency, especially since I'm a man of limited time, basically.
Okay, so internal consistency.
Which is, everyone has limited time, but Keeley has really bled into me that one of the things that I don't think I'm not sure if I described this before, but say you wanted to make a movie about write a book about dreams, and one of the big themes are dreams, but let's just say the only thing that's happened is 2 dreams in the entire book. How can you really say it's dreams, or how could future interpreters and literature theoreticians can say that your movie was about dreams? They might misinterpret it or ignore it completely unless it had consistent uses of dreams throughout the novel. Consistent use of language control with having an original quantifiable style, consistent characterization. It all comes down to consistency for me.
Interesting.
Does that make sense?
It does make sense, actually.
Decent for the whole Keelian idea of consistency.
Internal consistency is a huge aspect of writing fiction, so I agree.
Okay.
It may not be my biggest thing, but it is a large part of writing.
Okay. So I have a question now too.
Okay.
Since you're a Yankees fan, do you ever get bored of them winning the World Series so much, or just winning in general?
No, because in my memory, in the lifetime of my memory, it has only happened once. In my life,
2009.
Yeah, in my memory. So,
no. It happened when you were 3 or so.
I really don't I know I was born during the triple run in the 90s, but I have no way of remembering that. So,
would you ever get bored if they started winning they did in the 90s, or
probably not. I like baseball too much to get that bored of it. Might I get bored of winning? I don't know if I would get bored of winning all the time, but I would. I know I'm bored of the Red Sox winning all the time. I know most baseball fans are bored of the Red Sox winning all the time.
Everyone hates New England sports, okay?
Yes, America's with us on this one. The Red Sox are kind of the worst thing ever, and so are the Patriots.
Yeah, interesting perspective. Honestly, in hindsight, I'm surprised our friendship survived the 2009 World Series.
I am too. I was surprised This is like because you know my girlfriend. I'm
Oh yeah.
surprised. I'm surprised that this rarely only gets brought up. The 2009 World Series.
Answer because we hate the Mets more.
Answer because we both hate the Mets.
I didn't Yankees fans hate the Mets. Really? Is it worse as bad as us?
Really, it's more Mets fans, just like the Yankees. Like I like the Mets. I'm okay with it. I hope I want the Mets to do well because I think having good teams in I think having better teams in major sports markets helps the game as a whole. Like in major cities, like having a good team in New York, having a good team in LA, having a good team in Chicago, that helps the sport.
Yeah.
Well, even though it might make fans of smaller markets less happy, it brings more money into the league. It pushes more league exposure, which in a way everybody wins. So
Yeah, but in New York, just how big it is, like grander metro area, like that's probably the only city you can have like two different teams. I mean, I know with Los Angeles, it's technically more than one team because it's all of California has like 4 or 5 teams, but
yeah,
like it's kind of funny how that works.
yeah. What's surprising to me is that as long as it has, Oakland and San Francisco have had teams, even though they're like right next to each other. To me, that's surprising because it's not a super. I mean, it's a big metro area, but it's not like a super big metro area.
I don't think of people who are really interested. With all due respect for San Francisco, I don't see people who are big into sports down there.
I don't know. The Giants have done all right for a long time. I mean, albeit you do have the 49ers. Oof, my apologies. But you do but the Giants, albeit they had a really tough last year. The Giants put together a mini dynasty.
Who are the 49ers now?
The 40 what's? Okay, I have a second question for you.
Okay.
What is your favorite historical artistic period?
For what, art in general, or
Just like art in general, like the modern period, the late modern period, romantic period, the neoclassical period.
um, I don't like the Dadaist. That's how it's pronounced, right? I don't really appreciate them as much.
Okay, that's fair. I'm not a particularly large fan of the Dadaists either. The
I kind of
Dadaist.
like surrealism and what it attempts, even though I think it can kind of like be a waste sometimes. Like I think it has its place. It's just like I think they were really, really trying back then.
Interesting. I too like surrealism. At least it's an attempt. It's the prog rock of painting.
Also, like what was that movement where they try to go for a lot of detail in a single painting? Baroqueism, 17th century, like Renaissance era.
I mean, if you're going for you mean like a realism in paint? Yeah, that would be kind of in both. It'd be both in at least the realisticness of the human form, like the ultra detailed painting. Yeah, no.
Um, okay, I guess I'll just stick with surrealism for the time being.
Okay, neat.
So my last question is,
Mm-hmm.
what is your favorite aspect of world building?
Ooh, ooh. Oh, that's a good question. My favorite aspect of world building. That's such a complicated question because world building is a massive, inwardly holistic um, effort. I mean, because like for example, you have all these people from different backgrounds, all these people from different belief systems, people different ethnic groups. How do all these people fit together? And how do you not slight a group of people or a place? So it's
So you don't want to offend fictional people now. We've gone on to offending real to not trying to offend fake people.
it's not about offending people. It's everybody has a rich tradition from which they come, and that tradition goes into part of explaining who they are, why they think what they do, why they act like they do. It's not the only reason. I still definitely believe in individualism, but cultural movements are to some extent inescapable. So I I think my favorite part of it. I think my favorite part about it is taking apart why a culture looks at something a certain way. It's to me it's thinking about how their philosophical and religious backbone affects how they see the world. Like if you look at like American or British society, the morality of Protestantism is inescapable. Like as much as we say oh we're moving beyond religion, we're seeing for ourselves. That's still the framework, and we
Yeah,
and even denying denying saying that there is you know denying any kind of divine authority doesn't change the fact that we still operate on the same bones, that people still act as if there was, no matter how much they deny it. That is a aspect, and I think that's the most interesting part that goes into all culture. Like for example, at the beginning of this, when you said I said the Wachowski brothers, you said for all I know, Wachowski's sisters. That tells me a lot about both you, where you're coming from, and that tells me about
oh yeah,
where they're coming from too, because those are people who view obviously, or at least seem to view gender as more of a a fluid more of a fluid thing, and they
I'm more of a postmodernism. They come from a postmodern background where gender is something to be deconstructed and disregarded.
yeah, whereas you would come from much more traditional backgrounds. That tells me about like, well, here are two cultures that are interacting, and I think the job of the world builder is to look at those and say, okay, why, like, they think this, and they think that's acceptable. Why? And you think this, and you think this is acceptable, and why? And how do they interact? Like when they go together, like there are people who disagree about huge things, but they get along, and there are people who disagree about little things but don't get along. So I think taking that apart and understand like um so why did dwarves hate elves in Tolkien? Why did dwarves and elves why do they distrust each other? Why? Taking that apart tells us about both the dwarves and the elves, what they care about and why they care about it. I think that's the job of the world builder is say not necessarily always to write it into the text. World building should be apparent in the text, but it shouldn't be the basis of the text. But I think there should be a moment. This is also from my dungeon master background. It's saying when a player asks why, you should be able to give them an answer. You should be able to say, even if you're making up an answer based on what you know about your own world, the player doesn't know. Even if you hadn't thought of it before, if if what you've thought about, if what you've created is conducive to giving them an answer, to giving them a definite answer, then I think you can say you've done a good job world building. That was way longer than I intended it to be.
We're not over time, so that worked.
So yeah, that's my favorite aspect of world building is figuring out why some people can be together and why some people can't be together, and how their cultural basis forms their daily life. I think that's what shows the best to a reader, a watcher, a viewer, a reader, a viewer, a player. I think that's going to be where we wrap up for today. I don't know what we're doing for our next topic, um, but I look forward to doing it. So I hope you all out there in internet land have a fabulous Valentine's Day and a whatever else is going on. Is there any other holidays? Did President's Day already happen?
No, that's in March.
Is it?
No, it's closer to my birthday.
Okay. Well, hopefully we'll return to you soon, and good night.